grab your juicy drinks. I'm about to grab mine. There's nothing like a crisp Dr. Pepper. This and yap about books. Let's get into it. Hi, look besties. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Angel, and today we are doing my first wrap-up video. And I feel like it's good to have videos where you are talking about books that you've read and just giving your thoughts and your ratings and whether you recommend them or not, because you may not follow me on Goodreads, which maybe you should, or you may have not watched the reading vlogs, which you definitely should. But if that is the case, we will have the reading wrap-ups. Now, considering this is my first one, I have no idea how I want to do it. Like, do I just want to pick them up randomly, go in the order as I read them, separated by genre? I don't know, there's so many ways to do it. Or I could do least favorite to favorite. I have seen Leah do that, so I think that's what we're gonna do. So if that's the case, I'm gonna pull up my Goodreads and we are going to look up these ratings. Okay, starting off with a 2-star read, we have The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. Now this had everything it needed to be set up for a great story, in my opinion. I love me a whodunit. I love a thriller where there's an isolated location and something's happening that prevents them from leaving. Like in this case, it was a blizzard. You had 7 friends coming together for a reunion. One of the friends is a murderer and one won't make it out alive. Now, my problem with this just had way too many characters to the point where it got confusing because they also included the point of views of the staff members that worked in the manor. I believe there was even the point of view of the police. Like it was just a lot going on. And for a thriller, it was not very thrilling. And there were parts I felt that were dragged out. This book could have been like 70 pages shorter. So yeah, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst. Would I recommend it? I would say no, but that's just my opinion. Okay, that was my only 2-star read. And I do want to give an honorable mention because I did read the Mindfuck series. This is 5 books in one. So I read the second book. I did not rate it because I want to rate it all together, but my light died. Okay, like I was saying, it's about Lana. She is a serial killer and she ends up dating Logan, who works for the FBI, and he is on the case searching for the serial killer, which happens to be his girlfriend. So, and I love Lana so much. She is so badass, and let me tell you, these people, these men that she's killing, good reason for it. She's doing nothing wrong in my eyes. Low-key a hero, if you ask me. But yeah, I can't really rate it because I want to rate it all together. So I'm definitely going to continue this. Okay, now we're moving into our 3 stars. Starting with Saving Noah, which I read on my Kindle, so it'll be on the screen somewhere. This is my first introduction to Lucinda Berry, and let me tell you, Lucinda Berry does Sick and Twisted like no other. Definitely check the trigger warnings for this, but my jaw was on the floor like throughout the whole story just because it's just crazy. This is basically about a mother. She's coming to the terms with the fact that her son is a pedophile, and she's dealing with the aftermath of the things that he's done. And one thing I can say about Lucinda Berry is she gets you thinking, like, what would you do in this situation and how would you go about things? Because obviously she's his mom. She loves him unconditionally. Like, her feelings have not changed. So you just see her struggling to come to the understanding that not everyone is going to be as forgiving as she is. I personally thought she was a bit delusional. The way that she went about things, very delusional. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I did not feel like it gave thriller. It wasn't very thrilling. It honestly felt like fiction. Would I recommend this? Maybe. If you like Sick and Twisted, yes. But if not, no. And then we have When She Returned by Lucinda Berry. This is about Kate Bennett. She disappears, a wife and mother. She comes home a stranger. Kate Bennett has been adopted by a cult, but after 2 years later, they find her at a gas station, clutching an infant and screaming for help. Now, when she gets back, her husband, he's already remarried, and the daughter barely remembers her. And Kate is completely different herself. So they're trying to help Kate integrate back into society, but they're realizing things might not be the way that they seem. This book I found so interesting because I honestly love reading and hearing about cults. Like, I just find them so interesting, seeing how people ended up where they ended up. And I love the way that this was written. It seemed very realistic. So yeah, this was very fascinating. And like I said, her books just get you to thinking. This just got me thinking, like, the mind is a very fragile thing. Like you really have to be careful with certain people because you have master manipulators out there that can literally brainwash you. This one also didn't feel very thrilling, but it was definitely a great read. Would I recommend this? Maybe. If you don't like to read about cults, because I know a lot of people don't like to, I'd say no. But if you're okay with the cult aspect and you like Sick and Twisted, yes. Then we have Work Husband by Octavia Grant. This book is about Crystal. She has developed this very intense, obsessive, delusional connection with her work husband, Lamar. Now listen, Lamar is just doing this for shits and giggles. Like he's just trying to have fun. And honestly, some people you just can't play with. Crystal's not the one to play with, okay? He shouldn't have toyed with her emotions. And that's all I'll say, because this is a very short story. I believe it's like 65 pages. So this is very unhinged. Very unhinged, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like I love unhinged characters, and I love me a crazy story. Like it's possibly one of the funniest books that I've ever read. Like it's so crazy that it's funny. Would I recommend this? Absolutely. Like if you love an unhinged story and you're looking for like a fun quick read, definitely read this. Okay, now we're moving into 3.25 territory. It just wasn't worth 4 stars, but it was also better than 3 stars, so 0.25. Okay, we have Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a sci-fi Cinderella reimagining. This is Cinder. She is a cyborg, and they live in a world full of humans and androids, and there's a prince and maybe a little romance. I don't know. I love the writing. It was super easy to get into. Like I felt interested within the story from the first page. And this was actually very fast paced because I do believe this is a standalone, but there is a series, but I think it has to do with other people. So they had to get their story complete. But I do feel like since it was fast paced, I wasn't as connected with the characters as I would have liked to have been. So yeah, for that reason, I gave it 3.25 stars. I did really enjoy this, but it wasn't like my favorite thing ever. Would I recommend this? Yes. If you like YA sci-fis and if you like fairy tale reimaginings, yes. And then we have The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. Again, very sick and twisted, okay? This is about a seemingly perfect couple. They have the perfect job, perfect love. The only thing is they cannot conceive a baby. They both work in a hospital, and when this orphan is brought into the hospital, immediately they bond right away. And as they're bonding with her, they come to the realization like, we should foster her. And then fostering turns into adopting. But as time goes on, they're realizing something's not right with this child at all. It's giving the movie Orphan, and it made me question whether I want children or not. So that pretty much sums it up. Definitely check the trigger warnings on that book because shit got crazy. But would I recommend it? Yes, because I love sick and twisted. So if you like sick and twisted, yes, but if you don't, steer clear. Steer clear, I'm telling you, steer clear. Okay, moving on to our 4 stars. We have The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I love Kristen Hanna's writing so much. She just knows how to tell a story, and it's like hard to explain what it's about. Her books are very character driven. So this takes place during the Great Depression and the people that lived through it, the things that they go through, how they're divided as a nation, and it's a battle between the haves and the have-nots. But Kristen Hanna, she just has these really simple characters in American history, and she turns it into an extremely captivating story. And I feel like it sneaks up on you. Like you don't even realize how connected to these characters you feel until you realize that you can't put the book down. So she does her thing. She can tell a story. And I'm just so excited to continue reading her books because I'm obsessed. Would I recommend this? Absolutely. Yes. And then we have The Chain. This book was so fun. So The Chain is basically someone kidnaps your child, so you kidnap another child in order to get yours back. So we're seeing Rachel go through this after her child Kylie gets kidnapped, and this book also made me question whether I want children or not. So yeah, extremely fast-paced, very thrilling, literally on the edge of my seat, like what's going to happen next? How are they going to get through this? They were literally going through the worst possible thing ever, and I was having the time of my life, so highly recommend. And then we have Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This is a story about a town and a game, the people in this town that loves the game. This is also hard to explain what it's about because it is very character driven, and they have a very tragic incident that takes place. So you're seeing how everyone is handling it and how they're working through this, and you're seeing the aftermath of it. And this book made me feel sad, and I love sad books, so that's good. And it was also very real. Like this is a situation that many people go through, and it's sad. Another book that made me question whether I want kids or not. So yeah. There was a lot of that going on during February, but I absolutely love the writing. It was kind of like Kristen Hanna's in the way where it's a very seemingly simple story, simple characters, but somehow you're completely captivated and so connected to these characters. And like I said earlier with The Hunting Party, how it got confusing because there was too many point of views. He did an amazing job at having so many characters, but yet it wasn't confusing, and yet you felt connected to all of them. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Definitely would recommend. And then we have Dear Vicky by Octavia Grant, another unhinged, diabolical story that I absolutely loved. pure entertainment, okay? It's just for fun. You're not getting amazing writing. If you're looking for that, this is not for you. But if you just want something where you can't put it down and you're just flipping to the next page, dying to see what's going to happen, and literally laughing your butt off because it's just so crazy, this is for you. Like, this is about a grocery store bag boy. He sees one of the customers and he just thinks like she's the most beautiful girl ever. Nice, right? Yes. But she says like a little nice sentence to him and says his name because he has him on a name tag. And he thinks, oh my gosh, that is my soulmate. And literally that's it. That's all it takes. That's his soulmate, and he would do anything for her. And he will do anything for them to be together. And I mean anything. That is all I'll say, because this is another short story, like 70 pages. Very fun. You're in for a wild ride if you do read that. And it just makes you realize, like, you can't be nice to everyone. So, yeah. Super sick and twisted, but fun. Okay, now we're moving to 4.5. I have One True Love by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved this story so much. This is about Emma. She marries her high school sweetheart, but on their wedding anniversary, he takes a trip and the helicopter he's in goes missing. Fast forward 2 years later, Emma, she's now trying to move on with her life. She has rekindled with her old friend, Sam. They're now in love. They get engaged. She gets a call from Jesse, the high school sweetheart that she married. He's alive and has been trying to come home for years. So now she's forced to choose between the husband she long thought dead and the fiance that finally brought her back to life. This book, literally so entertaining, so captivating. And the storyline is just what got me, because like, what would you do in that situation? Like, that's crazy. And I thought it was a beautiful representation of how you grow, you change, and sometimes you simply outgrow things, and you can outgrow people, outgrow places. And while that may be the case, it doesn't mean that the love you had for something and the love you had for someone, the love you had for a certain thing, it doesn't change the fact that it happened, and it doesn't mean that the love is gone. It just may not be what you need anymore, but it was perfect for you and what you needed at the time. So I just think that's beautiful. That's just a part of life. So yeah, I love this story so much. Definitely recommend. And then we have Tower of Dawn. I can't say too much because this is the 6th book in a series, but I enjoyed this way more than I thought I was going to. Like, this gets no love at all, but I had so much fun with this. Granted, it did get a little bit boring after a while, but I enjoyed the romance. I enjoyed everything that we found out in this, and I loved Irene. Like, she's one of my favorites now. Would I recommend it? Yes. Read this series. Now we're going into 5 stars. Since I just talked about Tower of Dawn, I can't forget Empire of Storms. 5 stars. Literally never a dull moment, like, at all. And I just enjoyed being in this world. This was just so fun. Not really fun because it was actually quite painful, but I had a fun time being with all the characters, all my babies. This absolutely wrecked me, so of course I had to give it 5 stars. Like, I'm still thinking about that ending, and I know I need to pick up the next book, but I'm scared. I'm scared, but I will soon. And then for our final book, we have A Love Letter to Whiskey. Now, when I rated this, originally I think I rated it like 4 stars, but I could not stop thinking about this book. Like, I kept searching for the feeling that this book gave me within other books. That's how I knew it was a 5 star. This book is about Bea and Jamie. They have this very undeniable connection, but this is a story of them of almost being together and what could have been between them if certain things weren't in the way. Now, this book is extremely frustrating, and it's not for everyone. I get it, it's not for everyone, but look, I love me a messy book. Am I the drama? I think so, because I just love the mess. Like, I thrive in it when it's in the book. Only in books, babe, not in the regular life. And it's so easy to be like, oh my gosh, just get it together. But these are very flawed characters. I love flawed characters because it's real. It's real. We are not all out here perfect, having perfect conversations with people. People have gone through shit, and it's not an excuse, but an explanation of why people are the way that they are. Which, again, not an excuse, but an explanation, because obviously you don't have to be a certain way. Like, you can go to therapy and things like that, but the reality is not everyone can afford therapy, and not everyone necessarily believes in therapy, so not everyone is going to think one certain way. So yeah, it's a lot of self-destruction at its finest, but you do see character development. It takes a while to get there. But it's there. You just have to wait for it, I swear. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. Still thinking about these characters. And would I recommend it? Maybe, because like I said, it's not for everyone. It's really not. And I get it. If you like the drama, yes. check it out. Okay, that is all 15 books that I read between January and February. If this video sucked, I'm sorry. I'll get better, I promise. But yeah, if you have made it up to this point in the video, you are a real one. But also comment down below this emoji, just because I like to see you watch my videos all the way through. And it's kind of like an inside joke that only the besties know. So leave it down below so I know if we're besties or not. Okay, I'm gonna go and not talk your ear off this time because y'all know how I get at the end of these videos. Oh, ASMR.